Hello, fellow World of Tank Blitzers and future Momrads. I'm Littlefinger, and today I'm going to talk to you about Tier 1 British medium tank, the Medium 1. I call this thing a beast. That is, if you can call any tank in Tier 1 a beast. I struggled with this at first, and so I decided to pull together the following spreadsheet just to figure out why it was that I was having trouble with it. And as you can see here in comparing all of the Tier 1 tanks, the medium really strikes out across the board in regards to armor and speed. The only thing it really has going for it is the hit points. So with 200 hit points, you are about 25% more than any of the other Tier 1 tanks. But on the flip side, what this tank really has going for it on the bottom section there is the gun. Whereas most of these other tanks do about 40 hit point damage, the medium does 90. So that's obviously taken into consideration in the slower rate of fire. But what I found with the Tier 1 and Tier 2 games is that I didn't have much of a problem penetrating. And in fact, I ammo racked a couple of BT2s, and I'll show you, I think, at least one of those in some following gameplay. So let's first show how I've set this up. Under consumables, I usually always go with the same: the repair kit, the multi-purpose restoration pack, and then adrenaline. And I always keep this in the same order so that when I'm in battle I don't push the wrong button and I know which order they are. Provisions for this, I recommend loading it up. You've got your standard fuel with 3% engine power, your black tea for 3% crew mastery addition, and of course I always recommend protective kit, mainly because of the increased protection against engine fires. As far as equipment, enhanced gun lane drive adds 10% to your aiming speed, and vents to add 5% to your cruise. And then the third is really optional to you guys. I went with binoculars. You could also go with the light spall liner just because there's a lot of explosives and ramming at this level. Okay guys, let's jump into some gameplay here. Like I said, I struggled a little bit in the sense that I didn't feel like I really dominated any of these games. I think I was 7-3 over the 10 games that I played putting this together, which, you know, I'm not complaining about, but I just never felt that any of these games were super dominant. And perhaps that's just because, and I'm showing you here at normal speed, just how slow this tank is and how big it is. You can see, I mean, this thing just creeps along, and it's huge. It's got a very big target. So I'm going to speed up the video here just so we don't bore ourselves to death. But you can see we've got several guys popping up on the map, and I'm trying to be very aware as to where I'm at and making sure that I've got obstacles protecting me from as many directions as possible. One thing with this tank, with the 2+ second their aiming time, you really got to be patient, letting that dispersion go down. And like here is the key is not to panic. And as you can see, there's one of the ammo racks, 250 hit points in one shot. This tank will do some damage. You just have to be very patient with it. You can see here I'm pulling up in between these two rocks and then pulling back down so that I don't have I'm not exposed, I'm not in the middle of any fields. Pulling up here on this tank, and I'm seeing a lot of red, so I'm gonna switch to my Primo just to make sure that that shot goes in, and then pull down, and I see that that cruiser takes care of him, so I don't have to worry about him anymore. So the hill's clear, and we can push up forward. Looks like the rest of the three guys are all in the spawn there, and here I am waiting for the aim to go in, and there was no point rushing that shot. I probably would have missed. So move on to the next target. You can see here I track this guy and see how far off that was from where I was aiming. I decided to switch over to heat. That'll do a little bit of damage, and you know, when you start getting hit, oftentimes your reaction is to panic a little bit. So wanted him to see if I could get him to turn, show his side, because T-18 is a really tough tank to penetrate frontally. So here I am, I'm moving up, I'm in the middle of the field, so I'm going to start heading towards some cover just in case. This guy pokes out around the rock here, and you see how long I wait. Being real patient, making sure you get the right shot in and not rushing it. The T-18 has turned around here, and I mean to switch to heat, and instead I shoot off a Pramo round and get the kill just as the cap circle is finished. This was my only mastery of the 10 games I played in this tank. And as you can see, I didn't do a lot of driving, but I didn't bounce a single shot. So there you have it, 800 damage. Okay, let's take a look at another game, this time on Copperfield. You can see here I am against 6 tier 2 tanks in this battle. I'm going to speed this up, just a little bit of confusion getting started here. It's really good if you can get your whole team going the same direction, and of course you don't want to see this slow tank climb this hill. So anyway, looks like the whole team is cooperating here and moving in the same direction. I get to the top of the hill, and I just want to keep pushing so that I'm not exposed. Next to that building is another spot where guys like to hang out. And again, you got to be patient. Let this gun fully aim before taking your shot. You really can't rush it. Here's another example. So we've got the guys taking off the corner there, and we've got a couple just to the left around the embankment here. So we're gonna, well, I would like to just keep pushing this and keep these metal spikes here kind of in my way. You can see I get shot from the side, and that's because those guys camping on the side can still see me. So I can't just stop there. I've got to keep moving forward. I think I actually back up a little bit too far here in a second, yeah, and take another shot. So really should have just pushed that a little bit more, kept that berm to my right. And so you can see with this tank, it's not so much a strategy as it is just being map aware. So I know that there's a couple guys over there by the water tank, and so I'm going to go behind these buildings so that I have cover. This guy's popped up, but I know there's a couple more over there at the water tower. I'm hoping that they'll show up, and sure enough they do. Now I want to take the most points from this guy, so I'm going to switch over to a heat round. He doesn't have much armor in the front. And I finish him off there. And you can see I've been protected by that building to my right the whole time. So kind of missed a shot here. Could have aimed a little bit higher, I think. And you saw that I got shot from straight across the map there. So again, this is just being map aware, knowing where your opponents are. I'm probably a one shot at this point, so I want to play this a little bit more conservatively and make sure that I'm hidden. Take this shot here on the cruiser, and he gets me down to 7 hit points and tracks me, but he's not really a concern to come around, and then he gets taken out. And then I don't know how, but I missed that shot. I guess I was overleading him and paid the price. He's going to shoot and kill me. But at that point, the game was pretty much in our hands, and we finish it off right here. So another game, didn't really feel like I did a lot, and maybe that's just because this gun does so much damage and you're not taking lots of shots, you're just taking few shots and doing a good bit of damage. So 647 there. I did die at the end, but it was a win nonetheless. Okay guys, so here's another battle, all tier 1s on mines again, this time spawning from the north side. This is sped up a little bit to save you the boredom of watching this slow tank drive up the hill. Anyway, I always like to try to take the mine hill to control the map, but you can see people start popping up here and I'm not exactly where I want to be on this map, and I'm kind of out in the open. This was probably one of the first games that I played in this tank and thought I had a much better turret than I do, and so I take a few shots here that probably really shouldn't have, and as you can see I'm also doing this with the machine gun and not the 6-pounder. My recommendation would be to go ahead and straight away switch out the gun on this tank. So you can see I've taken a couple shots here and I'm getting about 25% down there on my health, so I need to find some cover. I was just holding up on that ridge line, but everybody was taking shots at me, so I'm gonna put myself back behind this rock, and I don't even care about taking time to aim on that. My sole focus there was to get behind this rock. See if my teammates can't help me out and do a little bit of damage, and just preserve myself in this game for a little bit longer. So you can see I roll back and take a few shots on that medium, then pull back in front of that rock and watch the reload, and then once I'm reloaded, then I can go ahead and look for my next shot. So we got a couple guys up here that are pretty low on health, and I wanted to try to get a shot on that T1. I didn't wait to aim. I knew he was going to drop off behind the rock, so just threw those in there hoping for the best, and it didn't work. And these guys are now sitting in the base, and people are calling out defend the base, but no one's moving. It's quite interesting, and I'm low on health, and they're probably in the back there without being hit and probably full health. So again, I'm thinking these guys are going to be coming up. I'm looking at my mini map saying these guys aren't moving, so I need to roll in here and try to get this guy out of the base before he gets the capture. And since I'm now out in the open and I'm not exactly sure where the other two guys are, I want to push behind this rock and get myself protected again. And this guy does pop up, and he is up on the hill there. Looks like he's looking at me, so I'm going to throw some quick shots in and get behind the rock. And then we're going to wait and see. Best bet here is just to kind of sit in cap and let him come to us. So I'm cognizant of the fact that I've got the guy to my left and the guy in front of me. And so I'm going to push in on the guy down the hill here and hope my teammates can take care of the guy in the mines, which they do. He drops off there. So it's now a 5-on-1 and pretty good position for us to be in. But you can see I'm still a little cautious here. Get a few shots in, and he's going to go to the other side of this rock, so I'm going to try to follow him there, but just this tank is just not very fast. You have to be pretty patient with it. And so now again he's moved to the other side, so but I don't want to just drop down there and not have any protection. I want to make sure that I'm staying behind this rock. He's going to get a kill in there, and that's about it for him. So another what feels like a slow game. I don't recommend the machine gun on this one. I definitely switch to the 6-pounder. But you see here 322 damage. Not a great game, but it was a win. Okay guys, so here's a clip, and I'm hoping I can teach you something on what not to do based upon, so this is bad play right here. So This is mines again, and I've pushed up to the middle like I always do. But if you look at the mini-map, I've got a teammate sitting just outside the cap circle. There's another one not doing anything down there in the river. I've got 2 sitting at spawn, and 2 that have decided to flank, and they're one-on-one against another tank. I've been spotted, so all 7 of their team knows where I'm at. But I'm covered. I'm behind this rock. So we've got this one tank pushing up, and I'm going to take it really cautious, which is the right way to play it. None of my other teammates are really moving. They're just sitting in the spots that they've chosen right now. I'm going to take this shot. He's going to get a shot in off of me. I'm going to wait for the reload, and I'm going to stick back out and shoot him. And then I'm going to back out, wait for my reload, and I don't even wait for the full reload, and I just pull right out. And then up spots this guy right here. He shoots me twice, and then I get shot from the spawn camping area, and that was just really bad play. I should have stayed behind that rock and waited it out. So as always, guys, stay safe out there, have fun, and Littlefinger out.